Hey everybody, I don't know if you heard, but I was recently the winner of a major award. This, the Harbor Freight Gordon Challenger, and all I was required to do to receive this fine piece of cutlery was make a little video. Look at that. Oh yeah. Modern medicine. And so I did. I was chosen out of a hat by Birdshot, by Frankie and Bird over Birdshot 4, and thank you so much, you guys, for giving me this opportunity to do this. But this is my ticket here, validation. There was my hat draw number, name, and then they sent me this cool little thing here. So I'm gonna jump on into this. Let me clear off this real quick, and then I'll be right back, and we're gonna jump right into this knife. I think I'm gonna open it off camera, just so there's no horrible, real horrible life blood scenes here. All right, one second. All right, everybody, we're back. I got this out of the package pretty easily, and it's a pretty cool little flipper. Here we go, take a look at that. Have a look at, pause and reflect moment here. There we go. This is the Gordon Challenger Harbor Freight. I guess one of their forays into the knife world here. Lots of good information back here. Let's see what we can look at here. This is HCR13 MOV. Let's see how many inches of blade we got here. 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inches of HCR13 MOV, and it looks like the previous owner put a sweet edge on this. So hold on, let me grab some paper here real quick and I will check this out for you. 1 second. All right, here's a little piece of newspaper, and I'm cutting the wrong way, I'm sorry. Look at that. Just holy cow. Sweet blade. I just wanted to show you all ahead of time how sharp it was before we put this bad boy through its paces. Okay, it's got a G10 handle, it says. Steel liners, liner lock. Can you see that pretty good? Open construction, which is pretty cool, cuts down the weight. Nice substantial lanyard hole, which I like. Flips really cool. Flips really nicely. It's not a horrible flipper at all. I think the big thing we're going to find out about this thing is how well it holds its edge, how well it holds up, and a little bit of testing. But so far, it's not a horrible blade. It's not like its predecessor, this monstrous thing, which I really appreciate. Now look, I appreciate the gift. I do. When you get free stuff, it's always cool, especially if you get it from famous people. So that's awesome. That being said, I don't think that barely any blade play and 105% lockup should be used as selling points for your knife. So those at Harbor Freight might want to look into working that. However, we can, I'm getting away from this just for a second. We all know what happens to knives that can't hold their lockup. What's that? That's right. They transition into fixed blades. The Boker Momo. All right, look at that. Yeah. Put a little resin on that thing. Yeah, waterproof. So, this guy ended up turning into the Harbor Freight Death Dealer or something cool. Harbor Freight Land Shark. We'll see. We're not done with this. But this whole thing is about this knife, and I'm getting off track here. All right, let's see what we got here. We got 1, 2, every way you want to carry this. Up, down, left, right. You're good to go. Got your thumb studs equal on both sides. Of course, you're not going to use your thumb studs if you got that sweet flipper. Let's check the thumb studs. Ooh, pretty. Not bad. This is not a bad little flipper. I don't know how much these cost. Hold on, let me go check how much these cost. That would be really important. Hold on 1 second. Okay, I read around 10 bucks. 10 bucks, not a bad little jobber here. So it's got some really good gripping here. I like this little cutout here for your hand, even with my chunky fingers. A little lanyard might help with a little grip back there, but it's not too bad. If you had normal sized fingers, that would work out pretty well. So overall, not a bad job. Not a lot of bad little flipper jobber here. Of course, with that sweet shiny edge on there, laser cutting through things. It's a little bit unfair for me to start testing this, but we're gonna do it. What we're gonna do, we're gonna do the brisket test, boom. We're gonna do the choppy test, boom. I don't know if we'll have time for the chunk it into the couch test, but we're gonna try. We're gonna try and work that in. I know it's a fan favorite, so we got that coming up. We're gonna do some box cutting, some edge retention. Might cut a little 550 cord, see how that goes. And just about anything else we can think of with this little flipper, see how it holds up. I'm gonna carry it for a couple of days, so this video is gonna be an ongoing thing. It's not gonna be done in one night. There we go. There we go. It's a cool looking blade. Flips nicely. And I think that about wraps it up for the overall check it out look. Then next thing up will be how does it slice into flesh, and we'll check that here right now. All right, here we have the brisket test. And people are going to ask me, what did you use to prepare your brisket, Jimmy Slash? Was it your sweet, sweet kin onion chef knife, Shun? It was not, sir. What was it, your awesome, sweet global cleaver? No, sir, it was not that either. In fact, the only thing I'm going to use to prepare this brisket is this Harbor Freight Gordon Challenger. Before I do all that, I've already cut it out of its plastic sheath. So before I do all the rest of the stuff, we're going to do a little cut test. A little. All right. Hold on one second. Let's do this. Okay, here we go. Just going to come in. Let's see if I can squeeze this down a little bit so I get in here without smushing my fingers up. Let's just see how it does a little slice here. All right, here we go. How did that work? Let's check it out. First cut went right through there. Now this isn't real fair. This is a sweet edge that was put on here by the previous owner. But look at that. This cut right in there. That wasn't anything. Those were little wrist flicks. And since we don't have anybody else to try out, let's give it another try. Let's try it up here. Let's see what we can do up here. All right, here we go. Just a little, here we go. Oh man, that blade is so sharp. Check this out. Can you see that pretty good? Look at that. That's just little wrist flicks. I think that's more, I don't know, that's a sharp knife. That knife can take an edge, and it had an edge on it. Holy heck. So there you go, a little brisket test. The thing slices up nicely. Just, I mean, look at this. I'm not even going to push on this. Just, all right. So there you go. Brisket test, some good slices, nice cuts. Kind of demonstrates the importance of keeping your blade sharp. All right, so we're going to use this to cut open some bags and get into some charcoal and whatnot. All right, next test will be in the test room with the spine whack, with the blade chop, and maybe a little bit of couch throwing. Who knows? We'll see. Talk to you in a bit. Okay, everybody, what I'm going to do with the Harbor Freight Gordon Challenger here is I'm going to go ahead and do some cardboard cutting before I do the whack test and the chop test, just because I want to make sure this blade is not chipped up before I do the blade, the edge retention on this thing. So I'm going to go ahead and start cutting on this thing. Let's see how this goes. I'm going to try and get 100 cuts in here. So let's see if I can get this on camera pretty good. Is that pretty good? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2, 3. All right, hold on one second. All right, 4. Oh, don't want to show no addresses here. 5, 6, 7, 8, 49, 50. 81, 82, 83, 84. Still doing pretty good work of this stuff. 85, 86, 87, 88, 9, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, getting a little tougher, 97, 98, 99. Is that doubled up there? That's doubled up. All right. And 100. We have made a huge mess. Let's see what the edge feels like. Let's grab a little piece of this local newspaper or magazine thing. Still not doing too shabby. Look at that. Can you see that? Not super sharp. All right. Oh, maybe I was wrong. Maybe it is too shabby. Yeah. It's still got a little bit of an edge on there, huh? Yeah, that's not too bad. All right, let me see what I can do to put the edge back on here just a little bit and retest it. Okay, I ran it over my red DMT stone 20 times on each side, and then stropped it 10 to each side. And just shaving sharp again, right back to almost where it was. So not too bad on getting that blade edge back. So if I can make it sharp, then y'all can make it sharp. There we go. All right, let's move it on in to the testing room for some chopping, some spine whacking, and whatnot. Here we go, Harbor Freight, Gordon Challenger. Gonna slice into this brisket. I told you, I'm gonna do the whole thing with this thing, just so we can get an idea. So, little food prep video. We'll start down here, see what kind of slices we can make. Let's say you killed a cow out in the woods, and all you had was your Harbor Freight. Let's see there. Got some pretty good slices. Of course, you don't want to do this normally. You want a big long slicer, but let's see if this will work. All you brisket masters and barbecue guys, I know you're cringing here. It's all going to taste the same, I promise. These angles here, my camera person decided that we couldn't see very good, but let's see what we got here. A little brisket cut here. So not too bad, got a little food prep going. Just killed some wildebeest out in the woods, got it off the open fire. I'm gonna slice it open, not too bad. Of course, it's got that really sharp edge on it that I stropped up a little bit, but it came pretty sharp. There we go, hold on one second. Let me try a bite here. Oh yeah, Harbor Freight definitely made it taste better. Good stuff. All right, well there you go. Slices into brisket pretty good. And next up, the hard use test. And I will talk to y'all later. Hey everybody, we're gonna do a little testing on the chopping ability. I know we're not gonna use as much as a chopper, but just to basically see what the blade can hold up to. And then we'll do a couple little spine whacks. I changed out my cut-proof gloves. Got these from my son's Deadpool costume. I'm pretty sure that makes me invincible. I don't know for sure. We're going to find out. Here we go. Let's do some chopping here. I'm going to try and keep it on the plain edge of that Stay away from the serrated. Here we go. Oh, just about lost it there. Is that coming on camera? Come up a little bit. There we go. Alright, let's check this out. There we go. How'd that blade hold up? You know what? I don't see any chips or bends in that blade. Let's do a couple more just to make sure we're doing it the right way here. So you can see I'm taking chunks out of this wood. Let's check that blade a little bit. Any chips. No chipping at all. No bending or warpage that I can see. Let me see if I can find a piece of paper real quick. Hold on a second. Alright, let's see if we can get this to cut. Still. Yeah, still cutting nicely. Can you see that? So that's not too bad. I mean, not rolled over anywhere that I can tell. We'll look at it a little bit closer. There may be a little bit of rolling there. We'll check it out back at the desk. What I'm going to do is a couple spine whacks now. And just because. So here we go. That's pretty good. That's holding up pretty nicely. Now, it's knocking the poo out of this lock a little bit. But still shut up nicely. Alright, so there we go. The spine whack and some chopping. Seems like this one did pretty good. Oh, good one. Stickage. Oh, another good one. Oh, that was terrible. Alright, that's all. So we did the testing in there, did a little spine whacking, did a little chopping. Now the blade, the edge held up really well. It's still pretty sharp there. The one thing that didn't hold up as well is the lockup. Can you see that? So we kind of ganked up that lock quite a bit there. That being said, it did not fail. It didn't fail, and it still functions as a knife. Lockup's still good back and forth. We can get a little sideways blade play here. And I think we knocked it off a little bit as far as being centered down here. There might be a little bit of rubbing going on now. Let's see. But the thing is, this knife is still usable. And I'm going to try and tighten it up real quick. See if we can't get it centered a little bit better. I bet we can. 1 second. Okay, so tightening it up. Kind of centered it a little bit, but getting it too tight. Not centered it, but got a little bit off the edge there. But for it to be completely centered, you had to just make it unusable as a flipper. It was basically turned into a two-hand opener. So there you go. It held up nicely. Chop test. Still got a nice edge on there. And it held up to the lock test. I mean, the spine whack. It didn't close at all. And we've seen some more expensive knives than this close on the spine whack. So there you go. Let's see. Holding up pretty good. Cut the brisket cooked, cut the brisket uncooked. And we're going to see how it does if we're going to use it as a self-defense tool. So off to cardboard punching bag guy. We're going to have to move the kitty first. Come on. It's time to get down, kitty. Alright, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to make some cuts. Just like self-defense cuts, like I've shown before. I'm not a shoe expert or anything. Remember, we are looking at this knife here. This is the Harbor Freight Gordon Challenger. So I'm going to start with some regular hand cuts, what do you call the regular grip? Just some self-defense things, just see how it does on slicing and chopping or poking. So let's just do some of this, some of that, some of that, some of that. So let's check this out. Again, I know it's only cardboard, but it goes in there pretty well. You gotta remember, there we go, check that out. Check that out. Alright, I'm gonna switch grips to an underhand grip like this, and just do some slices, some uppercuts. There you go. Let's see if we can get this here. So that's just some quick cuts on this thing here, just see how it does. You know, it ain't gonna tickle whoever you're going after. It's gonna do quite a job on them. All right, back to the desk. Oh, wait a minute, look at this. Where are we? They did not like it though. Can you hear it? It's really rubbing now. Yeah, he's getting beat up pretty bad today. All right, back to the desk. Okay, I think the best way to wrap this review up is with a little story about what happened today. My dad and mom came over today, and I thought it'd be a cool idea to see what he thought about this. Now, my dad, he loves knives, he loves guns, he's into hunting and fishing and all that. But he loves knives like I used to love knives about a year ago. I just love knives. It wasn't I loved, excuse me, it wasn't that I loved zero tolerance knives or Kershaw knives. I really like knives, and couldn't hardly explain it. I didn't love steels. I didn't love specific handle. I just loved if it felt good, if it opened good, if it cut well, and especially back then before I started working on it, if I was able to sharpen it, it was probably something I wanted. And that's probably why I was into Kershaws and the speed assist. And so anyways, I handed him this knife today. I didn't tell him what it was about, didn't tell him what it was for. I just handed him. I said, okay, let me know what you think about this. What do you think? And he had a problem flipping it at first. It was kind of like a novice flip. He's trying to flip it. He's just not getting it. But eventually he started getting the push button flip a little bit on it. And he started looking at it and he started liking it. He said, man, I like this knife. And so I asked him specifically, I said, do you like the way it feels, the way it holds? He said, yeah, I like the way it holds, especially with this little lanyard here. He's got big hands, and so he said I can get my pinky on this, and I like the way it feels. Feels good. The blade looks really cool. I like the way it's shaped. And so I said, well, what if I told you that was Kershaw's new $40 flipper knife? What would you think about that? Now, you remember, he's where I was a year ago. He's not where a lot of us are now. We know the differences between different brands and stuff. And he said, oh, yeah, I could see paying that for that. Because I told him, well, I didn't tell him yet. So I told him, yeah, the lock didn't fail on me. I did some tests on it. And then I told him about the cutting test and how I cut through a bunch of cardboard and whacked into that hard maple dinner tray. And he was impressed with that. And so he was willing to shell out, not willing, he didn't want to shell out $40 at that point, but he could understand that somebody would pay $40 for this new Kershaw flipper that held up under these tests so well. So then I told him, okay, hey, Dad, that's not the $40 Kershaw. That's actually a $10 Harbor Freight cheap knife. And he was really kind of surprised and shocked, and he knows about Ganzos. He has a couple Ganzos I've given him. And he said, well, this is right up there with the Ganzos. He said, this is better than the Ganzos for me. He said, I like the way it feels, the way it handles. And there you go. This is a perfect example of a knife. It's like a car. You have a car to get you here and there. Do you need the stereo? Do you need the rims? Do you need, it's M390 steel? And most of us aren't going to need M390 steel. Most of us aren't going to need, high dollar custom knives or anything. Although we like them. I like them. I have a couple of them myself. I'm not saying that's wrong or bad. But for just to use, this is like the evolution of man kind of thing. This is where we all kind of started, right there where we used to like all knives on a non-judgmental level and just appreciate them for what they did for us. And for the last 4 days, I've used this knife for everything that I used other knives for, and I've used this knife exclusively. So I've opened all my boxes, cut all my tape, cut my meat, cut my meals, cut my fruit and vegetables for the turtle and everything else with this knife here. And you know what? It held up fine. It did what it was supposed to do. And if you're walking through someplace, Walmart or Academy, and you see one of these and you're having a Jones for a knife, and you see this or $30 Kershaw, just grab this. Go play with this for a while. This is not a bad little jobber here. So overall, this is well worth the money. Thank you, Birdshot, for giving me the chance to do this for you guys and for everybody else, and just have a look at it and have some fun. And all tongue-in-cheek aside, this is just a good example of where we all started in our knife addiction. Just a good little knife that we would have been proud to carry. For me, a year ago, if I'd had this knife, I would have showed everybody I knew. So I will talk to y'all later.